But right now, we're talking to Mal Fletcher about the future of AI. Mal Fletcher, futurist, a very good evening to you. It's lovely to see you. Now you see you're getting ready for your Santa Claus duties.
Yes, if my grandchildren lived in this country, they live in Australia, but I would be all over that. I'd be wearing the red and the green and everything else.
Yeah, and you absolutely, apart from you're far too slender, but the face is there. Yeah. Let's talk about the future of AI. Look, the genie's out of the bottle, isn't it, really? And there's no stopping this now. All these people talking about, regulating it, stopping it. I just can't see it happening. But talk me through AI biometrics.
Yeah, well, we're already using facial, voice and gait recognition powered by AI. They're being developed for use by the police, by security agencies. They can help reduce things like ID fraud, which costs us a whopping £1.8 billion a year.
Wow.
And of course, face recognition relies on computer imaging programs that map certain data points on the face. But 2025 is going to take that one step further. We can expect to see moves toward 3D face recognition, which is much more detailed in the data it collects, and it can be used to read emotions by reading subtle muscular movements. So that's going to be great help to doctors as they try to get a sense of a patient's general health. It might also help police track criminal perpetrators, but it could be used too for predictive policing, where suspected criminals are tracked for signs of intent to commit crime before crimes actually happen. And that poses obviously significant challenges to human rights.
Well, it's the Minority Report, right? It's the Minority Report. I mean, if you haven't committed a crime yet, then as far as I'm concerned, you're not guilty of anything. But if they can predict, like going through passport control, for example, if somebody's lying, I mean, it's like a lie detector, right?
It's a very sophisticated type of lie detector. So there are issues with that. There are issues with privacy. AI face recognition is now being tested in augmented reality glasses. Now, these have inbuilt cameras, they're connected online, and they have the capacity to search information for anyone they photograph at any time, publishing that data onto the lens of a pair of glasses. So basically, you're standing next to someone in the street, they can find out all about you while just looking at you through these glasses.
That's terrifying.
Well, you imagine what governments or police services might do with that, especially in an age where citizens are encouraged to report each other for even the slightest perceived insult at times in the name of preventing hate crimes. It might be a terrible outcome. And there's the bias of AI models too that has to be considered. We know that AI has trouble deciphering between people of darker skin tones because of the way it was trained. So developers are working to reduce that, but public agencies are going to have to be very, very careful that they don't rely too heavily on it when it first arrives. And I think the other thing about AI biometrics, Petrie, is that it's a great candidate for technology creep. They might be introduced for one limited purpose, but gradually used in completely different ways that we haven't approved of, or that we're not perhaps even aware of. We don't want to follow China's lead.
No, absolutely not. But, I mean, that's stalker's paradise, isn't it? I mean, you see somebody, you want to know who they are, what they do, potentially whereabouts they live, maybe not their exact address, but at least a postcode, or maybe even a phone number somewhere on the web, or, that is really scary. I mean, I value my anonymity, I value my privacy. I don't want people to be doing that.
No, I certainly don't. I don't know anybody that would. But you can see how it could be used by agencies, services, for good reason, but then we find out the technology creep sets in. And I think also this kind of thing can be used to construct global databases. You'll remember not that long ago, Tony Blair was calling for a global database of the vaccinated, ostensibly to help world leaders prepare for pandemics. But even a basic global database would include very sensitive personal information, which could be used by hackers and fraudsters who could access it. And the kind of biometrics we're talking about could lend itself very easily to use by global databases. So we have very granular data collected by each free citizen.
But I mean, it's also, I always say this to people, none of this is terrifying with a benign government, right? But that's not guaranteed. I mean, it's absolutely not guaranteed. And if they're making the decision, this is why I absolutely am 100% against ID cards, because of the information that will be held on them, the central database where all that would be, and people say to me, yeah, but we're not really private anymore. What are you talking about? Look, I understand but that is limited to things scattered. I never want it all in one place. And if you've got a government who can... I mean, look what happened under the terror laws. They were sneaking around, spying on people about their bins, or if they were entitled to go to the right school. They were spying on individuals based on these laws, these anti-terror laws. It was out of control. And that was your local council.
Well, as I said, China is the world leader, deliberately the world leader in that arena with its citizen point system. And
that's disgusting, isn't it?
It is disgusting. I mean, it means that the government is surveilling entire communities and offering benefits to citizens who act in ways that it approves of, and then denying opportunities to people who don't. And we certainly don't want that. But of course, as you say, there are no guarantees. So we need to be very careful that we don't make assumptions about, we live in a free society, this won't affect us. We do need regulation of some kind, at least to limit the use of technology. And we certainly need ethics to back up those regulations. Otherwise, they're not strong enough, resilient enough to withstand the pressure from, say, vested interests, lobby groups.
Exactly. But you see, we've again seen it already, not just those anti-terror laws being outrageously abused, but with voice recognition or voice timbre recognition, so behaviour, if you like, from the voice, used with benefits claimants to detect whether they're lying or not, or detect whether they're sincere or not. And that, and they don't have to apply to a judge. A lot of these things now, you used to have to go to a judge, or you had to have evidence of wrongdoing, and now they're just doing it anyway. And governments and places being able to dip into people on benefits bank accounts without having to go to a judge first. There's this presumption that they can just do what they like. So we've already seen that level of creep.
Yeah, we have. And it's particularly concerning then when you apply it to things like AI. And of course, we come back again to the one thing machines can't do, which is empathise. So a human being can always use some, if they're trained properly and regulated properly, they can use some sort of empathy to figure out where they've crossed a line, where they might have gone too far. But with machines, there's none of that. And now we have parking fines and speeding tickets in places like the Netherlands that are automatically gauged. So the reading is taken by a machine, it's fed to another machine, which sends out the fine notification or automatically deducts the fine from a bank account. So there's no human involved in that process. We don't really want to go too far down that line.
Well, that's what they want to do with the black boxes in the cars, isn't it? There's per mile payment. It's not just about paying per mile, it's about having automatic fines. So if your car speeds in an area that the machines know it shouldn't be speeding, you will get an automatic fine from your car. So this is honestly, and people are going, you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. You go, well, we'll have nothing to hide soon. Just quickly, if I can, social media and the news revolution, of course, that fascinates people like us in this building. Will there be such a thing as actual news in the future?
Yeah, I think there will. It won't be... what social media has done, and I'm particularly thinking of groups like YouTube, Facebook and X, or formerly Twitter, they've become primary sources of news and editorial now, especially for people under 45. In fact, over 45s are the only group that doesn't predominantly take its news now from digital media. Now, you couldn't say that even 2 years ago. And during the presidential election, we saw Mr. Trump talking to Joe Rogan, 26 million views in its first 24 hours online, 100 million downloads in the first day or so. Now, legacy media, as it's called, can't compete with that. And those platforms have not only changed how people consume news, Petrie, they've changed, they've democratised the process of creating and distributing news. So they allow everyday people to become and I use the term in inverted commas, citizen journalists.
Yeah, thank you for the inverted commas, because it absolutely drives me nuts. The thing is that the pesky thing about working in a proper news organisation, it's really annoying. We have to be factual.
Yes.
So, I mean, that is so annoying for a lot of people. They don't like the truth. Honestly, I'm glad I'm older, that I won't have to deal with this for very much longer, Mal. But it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope it's not too far in the future that I see you again. Mal Fletcher there, Futurist.